Okay. So when I type script, a file will be generated with the name TypeScript. Right from now onwards, whatever the commands I execute, everything will be stored inside this until I type exit. So when I type exit, it's showing the file TypeScript is done. Right, script done. File is TypeScript. So if I type this TypeScript, see whatever we have did, right? Everything is saved here. Everything is saved. Right? It is going to see. I typed a cat here. Right? When I after typing this script command, I executed ls minus a. Right? So when I cat this, see that information. Script started at this time. After that, I executed ls, and the result is this. After that, I executed one more ls, and I typed ls minus l. So then I typed exit, and the script has been exited at this time. Everything, the commands what you executed, that result, everything is stored inside this file. So you don't need to ask Ravi. So whenever he is coming and asking you, whenever you ask his help, whenever he comes to you, just type that script command and give your system name. Let him execute all the command. At the end, you type exit. That's it. Whatever he has executed, everything is there in that. You can refer that later. Okay. Fine. Okay. Next.
One more question.
Sorry.
There is one question.
Yes.
If you want to slightly modify that script, can you modify it?
You can modify it after saving it. Is normal script, normal file.
Oh, sure. Thank you.
Okay. Next, ls pw. Who am I? Exit. Echo. Everything we discussed. Path also I discussed. Echo I discussed. Okay. Then if you want to know that, see ls minus l. If I type, it is not going to show the hidden files. If I type ls minus ls minus l, if you type, it will not show. If I type ls minus la, it is not it is going to show the hidden files as well. There is something like bash history, bash logout, bash profile, bash rc. There are some files. So this bash profile will have the information about that user. So what is this information? Let me give some idea about this. What is that is? See, I'm clicking on up arrow. I'm clicking on up arrow. So as this easy to open user, the previous commands, whatever I executed, it is going to show that. Like how many commands it has to show. I'm working with this user from past 10 years. All the commands, whatever I executed from past 10 years, it will show. No, in this mission, there will, if for that file, there will be some variables we have set. Hits size equal to 5000. Hits file size equal to 500, like this we give. Like this, we can set the information, like the history. In the history, how many commands it has to store, the previous 100 command, the previous 1000 command, like that we can set that. Okay. And if you don't want to, for example, ls command I'm executing 10 times, I'll execute ls commands, but it has to treat it as only once. So for that also we can set ignore dupes equal to true, something like that. If you set, it will ignore the duplicates, right? Just information you just be aware of. Date is the command. If you want to know the date and time of this, so you can type this date command. Why it is giving date as this one? October 4th. Okay, fine. But it is giving, now our time is 10 a.m., but it is showing as 4. Why? Yeah, it is universal time, UTC, universal time. So you have to convert to our time. So plus 530 hours, right? So we have to convert it. Okay. Next, history. So if you want to see that history, so you want to see that previous commands, whatever you executed, history is the command. So it will show the previous commands, that 500 command, his size or his control was there 500, right? The previous 500 commands it will show, but so far we executed only 462 commands. Okay. So now if you want to get that grep or something or tail only top 10 like this, you can use using type symbol. So if you want to say that his control equal to ignore dupes, means duplications. If you have executed here, see this clear command, how many times executed? Every time it showed. I don't want. I want to clear only once, the latest one, right? You can execute his control equal to ignore dupes. So the latest one, whatever I executed, only that. So this command will not be stored. Only last time when I executed clear, only that will be stored. Okay, like this.
Excuse me. Hello.
Yes.
There in the history command, it's in small case when comparing to the history and hist control. There are two different in case sensitive. Is there any difference with the case sensitive?
Where case sensitive?
For history, it's in normal mean small letters. For and hist control is in
command. First
the command
yes.
itself.
See this. This is a variable.
Okay.
It's a variable.
Okay.
Next. This just basic idea, keep it on this. Not if you want to clear the history minus C, it is going to clear the history. And if you want to reboot your mission, reboot is a command. Force reboot -F. This and all will not do in general. It is not so easy to reboot a mission. In AWS, we'll learn this. And if you want to send a mail, if you want to send a mail from your Linux, if you want to send a mail, so mail is a command, but you cannot easily send a mail. You need to have SMTP configuration. That what is SMTP and all we'll learn in Jenkins. But in general, from Linux missions, we'll not send mails. Okay, we'll use some other tools like Jenkins or something. When we use monitoring tools, from there only we'll send the mails like SNS notifications and all. But in general, we'll not use Linux mission to send the mails. But just remember, mail is a command to send a mail, but without attachment. If you want to send a mail with attachment, MUTT is the command. Okay, just have an idea. That's it. Next, one more important command, wget. I want to download something into my Windows machine. How you will download? For example, I want to download Git software. For example, in Windows, Git for Windows will go here. We'll click on this. For example, I want to download this setup. We'll download it. Yes or no? But Linux, if I want to download, how can I download? Is just get this download URL. This link is the right copy address link. This is the link. If you hit this, it will download. Now in Linux, wget is a command to download. Wget, give the link. See, it started. It is saying something. 400 bad requests, something it is saying, HTTP request sent, waiting response. It is not able to download. But you understood, right? How to download? Maybe that URL is not properly copied or something is missing. It's okay, but still it can download. Just download it. Okay, you understood, right? So wget is a command. So wget, you give the URL, whatever you want to download, that download URL, it will download. But don't give this URL. Don't give this URL. If you give this, it can't identify it has to download from here. So if you want to download, everything will have some URL like this, proper URL. Now it is proper. See, now I'm going to give this. So every download will have URL. So you give that URL, it start downloading. Now if I type this, see it has downloaded exe file. Somewhere you can see that. Is there anything downloaded? See here, it has downloaded that exe file. Understood, guys? So wget is a command download. Okay, next, yum is the command, one more command. See, for example, I want to install something. In Linux, I want to install. In Windows, what you will do? Double click and install it. But here it is yum install. For example, I want to install Jenkins or something. Right? So yum is a command to install. But don't worry, yum we will use like how many hairs I lost, right? Those many times we use. Okay, you don't worry. Yum is a command we use in regularly. So don't worry. I'll show you the word. Yum, just remember, wget is to download something. Yum is for installation. So by default, it will download from packages, some external packages. Sometimes we have to download and install. What is this? And all we'll discuss. Don't worry. Yum is for installation. Wget is for download. Okay, fine. Next, tree command. What is this tree? For example, ls I type. I want to see this data in a recursive way. How to see that recursive way? There is a directory, sample directory or bash 24. It has some other directory inside. I want to see everything in a recursive manner. How to see that? Using ls command. ls minus
capital R.
Right, it is going to list in recursively. So B2 has a directory inside. Inside that B2 a directory, there is B. But it is easy to read, little complex. So what I'm going to do is, I'll just type tree. But tree is not a command, it is showing. Command not found. Command is not there. But tree is a Linux command, but it is not there. So this is like external command. Means with your Linux, it is not going to come by default. Then I can use M command to install M install tree. So this is a default, this is available in default package of Linux, so I can install. But error I'll get. So what it is, you need to be a root user or sudo user. So for the starting, I'm going to use sudo M install tree. So it is going to install, but in between it will ask yes or no. So type yes, continue. So it has installed. Now it has installed the tree command. Now if I type tree, see it is showing. So there is a directory in current directory in a dot here it is showing. You see here dot inside my current directory there is a directory called AA, one more directory called --21, one more directory called --22. Inside this there is one A directory, inside that B, inside B there are b.txt and C directory, inside that C there is a D directory, inside that D.txt is there. Is it showing like this? So one more directory inside this batch 24, like this it is going to show all the files and directories in a tree structured manner. Okay, tree structure it is going to show. Understood, guys? Okay, next. Top command. Top. Okay, shall we end here or shall we continue? 8 to 9:30, 2 hours we discussed, right? Shall I continue for some more time, like 10 minutes?
Continue.
Okay, I will try to complete this Linux today. Okay, we'll try to complete. So next, top command, one of the most used command in real time and debugging purpose, interviews, whatnot. Every time we use this top command. Guys, on my Linux machine, let's take one example. On my Linux machine, I install Jenkins, I install Java, I install Node.js, I install some applications also. Like that, tools and applications I install on my Linux. Now, somehow my applications are not working. All the applications stopped working. Or else my Linux itself is getting restarted continuously. I want to debug it. So first thing what we do is we'll check the CPU utilization. Whenever our Linux machine is running, we'll connect to that and check the CPU utilization. Why? Maybe one application might be consuming all the CPU and the other application has a shortage of to use the CPU. First thing what we debug in real time is top command. Using to check the CPU utilization, we use top command. Top will show the CPU utilization in a see if I'm going to use this top. See this, did it ended my terminal? Did it came back to my terminal like this? No, it is showing in like editor like form. It is showing on a pop-up. See here, you observe here, this is changing regularly. You observe it here. This is systemd something, right? You observe here, so after some time it will change. So what this top command will do is it will list all the processes. I deployed an application, that is one process. The application is running one process. I installed Jenkins. Jenkins is one process running. Jenkins is running, that is one running process. Like that. For each and every process, what are all the processes which are using more CPU? That will come on top. It will list all the processes which are using CPU, but in a sorting order, this whatever the application or the process whichever uses more CPU, that will come on top. See now, it came and went. You see here, it is 0. See now, root user is using 0.3% of CPU. Now it is not using. That is keep changing. So now, whoever uses CPU utilization, that keeps changing. Who is on top? Which application or else which process is using more CPU? That will come on top, right? Like that, it will show. Okay. Now, based on seeing this, if there is an application which is using 10%, the other 2%, then other, like in a sorting order, it will show whichever is using more CPU utilization, like 90%, 80% if it is using, we'll identify that and we'll come to know that that application is a culprit which is causing the issue, more CPU utilization. Then we'll think about auto scaling, increasing the instance, or else like application bug or something like that. We'll take care of that. Okay. Now you type quit, it will come back to your terminal. Now done. Done. It came back to your terminal. It will not work anymore. Understood, guys? So top is a command. What it will do? It will list the process which are using CPU and in a means whatever the process which is using more CPU, that will list it on top. Okay. Now, if you want to, top will list all the processes, but for every application, the installation or the user owner will be there, right? I want to list based on the user specific. What are all the processes running by one specific user? That user process I want to know. Top minus u, username if you give, only the process which are running, but that user, it will list in that order. Starting order. Understood? Okay. I want only top 10 processes, top minus n10. Okay. Next, free. Okay. What is this free? What is df command will do? Df.
How much memory is used?
Right? How much,
Complete the
much
available
memory
free
is-
space in the disk.
yeah, how much is your hard disk capacity? How much is utilized? How much is free available? Everything df is going to use. I want to know about RAM. How much free RAM is available like that? Free is a command to check about RAM space. Understood? Next. Now I have to do fdisk is a command. Fdisk. Do anyone remember about fdisk? Fdisk is a command where we do partitionings like my hard disk is not enough, so I attached an external hard disk. If you just keep attach it, it will not work. You have to create a file system, mount it and all. So that mounting point and all, if you want to see that where it is mounted, fdisk is a command. If you are not aware of this, it's okay, no problem. In Linux, easy to instances, when we attach new volumes and all, we use this command, mount, unmount, fdisk and all we use. We'll discuss about that. Okay. Next, rsync, remote sync. Rsync means remote sync. What is this? We'll discuss. First, let me explain one thing. I have one Linux machine, right? I have one more Linux machine, 2 machines. If we can do this for one machine also, let's discuss about 2 machines. Now, I have a folder here. I have some files here. I have some files inside that, right? I have an application. Daily, it will write some files to this. Today, it wrote 10 files. So total files available in that directory are 10 files. Tomorrow, so the 10 file size is like 1 GB. Tomorrow, it will write half GB. Day after tomorrow, it will write 1.5 GB, 2 GB like that. My job is, this application is going to write the files here. My job is, every day I want to copy these files to this directory inside the other server, other Linux server. Like this A directory, B directory, this application is generating files and keep it here. I want to copy this from here to here daily at 1 o'clock, or else daily morning, whenever I log in at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, I have to copy from here to here. That is my job. Fine. Today is the first time this application has generated the files. It generated 1 GB of files. How can I copy from here to here? CP is a command which we will copy within the file, within the Linux machine from one directory to other directory. But if you want to copy from one directory to the other directory between the Linux server, SCP is the command, secure copy. Okay, I discussed or not, I'm not sure. It is, right? SCP. In this batch, I haven't discussed, I guess. Okay, I'll discuss. SCP is the command we'll discuss in some time. From here to here, we can copy. But tell me, here 1 GB is there. How many files it will copy? Entire 1 GB files it will copy. Okay, here 1 GB is present. Tomorrow, I already copied, right? From now to next, tomorrow 10 AM, it has generated 1 more GB of files. Total, how many are there? 2 GB. Now, if you try to copy from here tomorrow morning, if you try to copy from here to here, how many files it will copy? 2 GB. Already 1 GB is there, but again it will copy from scratch. Entire data it will copy 2 GB. I don't want that. It's unnecessary copying, right? It will take time and consume memory, that and all, right? What should I do is, it will overwrite that 1 GB files, but I should not do that. Why unnecessarily, right? I want to copy only the new files and modified files. In such case, you can create a remote sync. Remote sync. What it will do is, instead of SCP, you created remote sync. So whenever you create,
What is that? Remote sync.
Wait.
What was that word?
rsync. That means remote sync. You wait until I explain, then you can ask. Okay. What that remote sync is, I'll create one remote sync, means rsync command, give this as the source and this as a destination. So what it will do is, like CP command, rsync is one command. I'll give source as this folder and destination as this folder. So in such case, what it will do is, it will copy whatever is there here. It will copy from here to here. Next, once I did this application has generated one more GB and kept it there. Tomorrow morning I came and I'll execute the same rsync command. In such case, what it will do is it will identify what are all the files already copied, what are all the new files, what are all modified files. It can identify and it will copy only the modified files and new files. Already yesterday itself it copied few files, right? Those are as it is, they are untouched. So it will not touch those files, only the new files and modified files it will copy from there to here. Understood? And you remember one thing, rsync is unidirectional. Means if you have created rsync from source to destination, this is a source destination. If you run rsync tomorrow, only the files which will copy from here to here. But if you have generated new files here, this will not copy from here to here. Unidirectional, source to destination. Always whenever you run rsync, source to destination, it will copy. Understood? Understood, guys? Next, I want unidirectional. Then what should I do? Sorry, it is unidirectional. I want bidirectional. How should I? What should I do? Yeah, you create one rsync. This as the source, this as the destination. You create one more rsync. This as the source and this as the destination. So when you run rsync here, it will copy from here to here. When you run rsync here, it will copy from here to here. Understood? Someone was asking a question. What is your question now? Can you ask your question now? Or is it clear? Hello? I think Chaitanya or someone was asking a question.
No, Nilkanta, nothing. Then my doubt is if we create an, how will that work? The rsync will work.
Wait. The theoretical I explained. I'll just show you.
Okay.
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 That's it. We'll stop it here for today. Again, it's too heavy. Tomorrow I'll discuss about that SCP. First, you need to understand SCP. So if you understand SCP, rsync also you can understand easily. This rsync cannot be done. No need to be done between the two missions. You can do here from here itself. The same mission from one directory to other directory also you can do rsync. Okay. So we'll discuss about rsync and SCP, secure copy, tomorrow, and then zip, unzip, tar, cron tab. We'll discuss later. Service commands, ping, this and all we'll discuss, and then we'll end up Linux tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow itself we'll start our shell scripting. Okay. Quickly, let's just complete this Linux and shell scripting quickly, then we can get into our actual DevOps tools. Okay, that will be at least interesting. Okay, but don't neglect this Linux and shell scripting. These are too much mandatory. Okay, these are the prerequisites. Okay, guys. Okay, that's it. I'm stopping here. We'll meet
Nilkanta doubt.
8 o'clock. Okay, yes.
I just need some information regarding the AWS certificate.
Okay, let me stop the recording, then we can.